Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the 7 reasons the same problems keep coming into your life. Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the 7 reasons on why the same problems continually come in your life. Quite often when I speak to people over a long period of time, or I've had family or friends that I've known for a long period of time, they generally seem to have the same problems. It may be problems with diet, it may be problems with career, relationships, and it's interesting that even when dealing with a problem for 10, 15 years, individuals don't seem to be able to solve that problem. It's really interesting, isn't it? If I said to you, what's 5 plus 5, and you couldn't answer it immediately, I would expect that if it was important to you, you'd eventually find out what 5 plus 5 was. Now, interestingly, there's reasons on why we don't solve those problems. And as I always say, the teacher will leave when the student is ready. And problems are teachers, and they will continually come into your life until you learn the lesson. In the same way a good teacher would. A good teacher just wouldn't give up on you. They keep asking and getting into your face until you answer the question. So always, I'm going to start with a quote on this topic, and the quote is, "Trials are but lessons that you failed to learn, presented once again. So where you have made a faulty choice, you can now make a better one, and thus escape all pain. That is what you choose and what is being brought before you." A Course in Miracles. If you haven't seen A Course in Miracles, read A Course in Miracles, it's incredible. It's someone who was 2 authors who became a conduit for God and wrote everything down. It's an amazing course in Miracles. So I know personally that before I understood my true nature, I had a lot of teachers come into my life who at the time I just didn't like, had real problems with, I was judging. Now I look back, and the people who were challenging me, causing me issues, I see them as my biggest teachers. You know, the partners and the relationship partners that you go, I really dislike that person. Well, now I look back and go, that person was the best. I mean, no way could they have taught me that lesson unless they had done the things they had done. Unless the way I'd reacted was the way I reacted, I could never have learned that lesson. So understanding that really takes the friction and depowers people who are aggressive and angry who come into your life, because you just sit there and go, you think in the back end, you're the best teacher. You know, the act that you're putting on, the aggressiveness, the nasty things you're doing, God, this is going to be a good lesson. And it depowers them. So I'm going to start with the 7 ways that you can start removing these obstacles from your life and really moving forward, because the universe wants you to be the best version of you, but it needs to create resistance, it needs to create strength in you, it needs to make sure that you're legit and will throw problems at you. So number 1, to stop making the same mistakes and having the same problems come into your life, number 1, you act out of fear. Coming from a place of fear is the worst place to come from. It is not you. It's where the ego takes over, it's where worry takes over, it's where thought takes over. If you fear something and you make a decision while you're afraid, it will generally always be a bad decision. And I know that looking back at the jobs I've taken, the things I've done, I generally made them out of fear of what if it would happen if I said no. Don't act out of fear. If it's required, sleep on it. If it's required, meditate on it. If you have to make a decision in a fearful state, delay it until you're out of that fearful state. Number 2, you worry obsessively about the problem. Worrying about a problem gives it power. You need to remove this high school concept of sitting there on a whiteboard and trying to nut out a problem and really think about it. There is no problem outside of thought. Just come from your true self and act. Action is truth. Thought is just musings. It's concepts of future and past. Don't think, act, and don't worry obsessively about the problem. You'll give power to it. Now, when you worry, you spin that pattern. You keep that wheel spinning, keep that plate spinning on your fingers. And you'll learn lots of techniques to alleviate worrying from your life during this 12-month process. 3, you consistently complain or talk about your problems. When you complain about your problems, you then create a connection between someone else of your problem, and as we're all linked, that karma chain of problems grows and you grow the problem. You don't need to speak to everyone about your problem, because reality is, if you don't speak about your problem, it stops being a problem relatively quickly and you get on with life. Number 4, you've become best friends with misery. Now, during the 6 human needs videos I spoke about, we all need certainty. And a lot of people need a story as well. And the story of misery, the story of the problems that keep coming into their life is a story they love to tell, and they build an identity around it. They become friends with it. They're almost like, you hear people all the time going, I have ADHD, that's why I can't concentrate. So what happens is, whether or not they have ADHD isn't important, they become friends with ADHD. It's part of them, so they take it with them everywhere they go, not realising that they could very well just let it go and begin fresh. Number 5, you're too hard on yourself. I heard this great song at the moment, Don't Be So Hard on Yourself. I'm not going to sing, I have an incredible voice, that's why I'm not singing. I don't want to shock you with how great it is. But there's a great song I heard on the radio yesterday. It's about, just don't be so hard on yourself, girl, I think was the song. And yeah, understand that your first job is to be present, and part of being present is loving yourself. You want to make mistakes. Don't be so hard on yourself. At the end of the day, life is a process. You will get there, and you are just manifesting destiny. You are just out there being a tree and photosynthesizing light and making things happen through your life. So don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself a hall pass, because guess what? You can fix it right now. So why would you need to be hard on yourself? Number 6, as mentioned at the start, the teacher will lead when the student is ready. That's the only way you need to see it. If problems are coming into your life, they're teachers. And if they continually come into your life, you're just not ready. And that's okay. I mean, no one gets it on the first lesson. We all need experience, and we all need to understand it. So when these teachers come in, and the universe is cool. The universe doesn't send you problems. It knows that's too easy. It knows that you're beautiful. It knows that you're smart. So it sends you humans. Humans are complex, and humans are a manifestation of your own consciousness. And what's happening is, these humans are coming into your life as teachers, and you are rejecting them when the same problems continue. If you're dealing with passive-aggressive people all the time, you're not learning the lesson, and the universe will continually send them to you because it loves you so much and wants you to become the best version of yourself, that it hopes that one day you'll get it, that they're just teachers. And number 7, the number 1 way to understand on why problems keep coming into your life, and this is incredibly important, you believe there is a problem. Now, in Zen, the most amazing philosophy, I think, of mankind, because it talks about no thought. In Zen, there's monasteries, and we'll talk about Japanese Zen monasteries. Now, you don't go to a Zen monastery because you want to have a fun time, because I can guarantee you they're not fun places. They're very austere, there's very little furniture, you eat, mostly, gruel-like stuff. They're not super. So when you go there, you generally go there because there's a problem. A lot of people will have like a death in the family, they'll have a crisis, they won't understand their purpose, they'll feel empty, and they'll rock up to a Zen monastery. Now, the great thing about Zen monasteries is not very formal. Anyone can join, and you can leave whenever you want. I love that, because it means that there's some legit stuff going on there. When you say you've got to be here for 4 years like universities do, what happens if you learn it all in 3 years? I mean, Zen monasteries are incredible places, and once you're admitted to a Zen monastery where it's serene and beautiful, you're basically stripped of all your possessions, you shave your head, and you can focus on why you're there now. And one of the ways you do that is once a day, once a bell rings, you'll meet with your Zen master, and the Zen master will present you with a koan. And a koan is a story with no answer. Now, in Western culture, we're very familiar with what's the sound of one hand clapping, if a tree falls in the woods, what sound does it make? But koans, there's hundreds of koans, and there's different levels of koans. But basically, the idea of a koan is there is no answer. Now, what will happen is students will try and impress their master, and they'll go in and they'll be asked a question like, does a dog have Buddha nature? And the student will answer, and the master will be like, no, go away. Next day, they'll try and get creative, and they'll make a knocking noise on as an answer, and the master will say, no, go away. And after weeks, months, or even years of doing this, the student gets to the point where they realise there is no answer. So there's no point trying to answer these questions because they're ridiculous. And it's at that point that they become enlightened, because they understand that the problem on why they went to the Zen monastery in the first place had no answer. And the idea of trying to solve that answer all the time in their head was the only problem they had. So when they stopped trying to answer the problem no longer exists in their mind, because all problems exist as thought. And that way, they just leave the temple. So quite often they will just pack up their bags and bounce and just leave the temple. And isn't that an incredible process, that the Zen master has done nothing but ask the question, and the students come to realise that the problem is trying to answer the question. So don't spend time mental energy, just be where you are, just act. The universe is beautiful, it's always changing, so this too will pass. Whatever's happening to you right now will pass, therefore you don't need to solve it. Quite often we need to get things straight in our head, go, I need to really understand why that person did that. Let me think about it. Maybe that's why they did that. You're creating a problem in your head. It has happened, it's done. You're here right now and you can make real change. So I think you'll notice that at the start of your 1 year life transformation, there will be lots of problems coming into your life as you try to grapple with these things. The answers are here for you today to remove these problems and move on to better problems, move on to problems of prosperity, problems of how to help more people, how to, really enjoy the relationships you have and how to really be at peace, how to meditate better. They're the problems that you want. I'm really excited to be able to deal with this topic today. I have so many people contact me about things that are going on in their life, and understanding the teachers, which some people call problems that are coming into your life, and embracing them and hugging them and saying, I love you, is a great way of having no problems. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Feel like we're growing at an exponential level right now, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.